The new MacBook Pro is here, and it's actually quite good. Welcome back to Apple Unwrapped. I'm Simon. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, consider subscribing. So the new MacBook Pro 16-inch has finally arrived. The MacBook Pro that has been rumored for so long and has been on people's wish list for quite a while is finally here. No big Apple event though, no big newsroom full of reporters and tech fans and YouTubers. Just press releases and models seeded to reviewers. Kind of low key. It's not the biggest selling product in the Apple lineup, so I can kind of understand why they do it that way. Enough of how they dropped it, but what's actually new on the 16-inch? Well, first off, it's a new form factor. We haven't had a 16-inch ever. We've had 17-inch, which was discontinued because it was simply too big. Then we went to 13 and 15 and 12 as well, 11 and 10 and... Well, we've had a few sizes, but 16 hasn't been here before, and it's actually quite a nice size. I've seen them here in Tennessee at the Apple stores, and they're really nice looking machines. They maintain a lot of the aesthetics that come from all of the current Touch Bar models. They are a little bit bigger, which because it's 15 to 16, we talked about last week, is to be expected. The nicest and most obvious change is that keyboard. Gone is that pointlessly symmetrical arrow setup, and we're back to an inverted T and a physical escape button, it just means so much to be there instead of the kind of crap interface we've had for the last few years. It's a completely new designed keyboard. It's back to the scissor mechanism. It now has 1 millimeter's worth of travel according to iFixit.com, and it feels quite nice to type on. I gotta say, it didn't feel too different to the one that I have, which is the 2019 model, the early 2019 model, but that inverted T makes such a big difference if you do anything that requires them frequently. As a programmer, it just felt so much nicer to use. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been trying to touch type and just got the arrow keys messed up whatever I'm doing. Really, really infuriating. But this keyboard does look so much nicer and does appear to be more usable as well. Will there be reliability issues? I actually don't think there will. iFixit.com also showed that you can pop the keycaps off like a traditional keyboard. That's unique really to the scissor setup. And basically you can remove any gunk or dirt that gets in there. You no longer have to take it to the Apple Store and have the entire top case replaced if you get a crumb under one of your keys. The late 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch, as it's called, starts at $23.99 US, and it can be spec'd all the way up to $6,099 if you so choose. It's quite a price range. The entry model is great. Do you need the full works? Well, maybe. If you're doing a lot of 4K or even 8K video, you may need it. If you like to drive two 6K monitors, then you will need the higher graphics card, but that can be spec'd. And it's actually really nice to see that a MacBook Pro is almost ahead of the times. When it comes to RAM, we're starting at 16 gigs still, and it can be expanded up to 64, which is very nice as well. 32 is more than enough, I've found, and 64 would just be plenty. Storage-wise, we're still starting at 512, which pains me a little bit, but it can be increased all the way up to 8 terabytes if you're willing to drop $2,200 on slightly bigger SSD chips. $2,200. Oof. Apple claim they've improved the speakers, which is nice to know because I've never really had any problems with the 2019 model, but I did have niggling issues with my 2016 and 2018 Touch Bar machines, so it's good to see they've addressed the speaker issues that have existed and hopefully improved them for a better sound experience. If you listen to movies on your MacBook Pro, it's never going to be the same as listening to Dolby Atmos in a full setup, but it can be quite enjoyable. It's really not as bad as laptop speakers used to be. Apple still claim you'll get 11 hours of wireless web browsing, which probably translates to about 2 hours of high-performance work. Still not great. It's not going to get you through a full business day if you do anything more than, well, web browsing, watching videos, but if you're just doing light surfing, you'll still get enough to really get you between coffee shops and hopefully get you through those flights. But you're going to need to be sat in business class or better if you're going to be using a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Otherwise that seat's going to... Really, I've got to say this MacBook Pro 16-inch does look like Apple are listening to the customers and the consumers and all of the complaints that have been out there. Finally, after 4 years, they have, or 4 versions anyway, they have got rid of that terrible butterfly keyboard, switched back to the scissors with gaskets, pop-off keycaps, Not only is it going to make sense for us, but for repairability, you're no longer going to have to lose your MacBook Pro for a week to get a new top case when they could simply pop the keycaps off, blow it down with compressed air and sort out individual keycaps rather than having to replace that whole top case, which from a repairability standpoint and from a company that's so keen to keep wastage and recycling balanced, it pained me knowing that they were having to remove a top case and dispose of it. Hopefully it was recycled in some way, but this is better overall, not only for the bottom line, but hopefully for the parts and the energy that goes into maintaining your MacBook throughout its life. Other Apple news this week, iOS 13.2.3 has been released. Again, looking to improve the multitasking problems that we've seen since the last 3 or 4 weeks now. It does still happen. There are still a number of apps that cause multitasking to simply crash. It's as if the RAM management is just destroying whatever you're doing in the background. It's great to see them continuing to work on point improvements, and hopefully they'll get this issue fixed. It's hard to see how they've created such a problem in such an established ecosystem. 13.2.3 also addresses issues with the Mail app and Messages app, where it was unable to download certain images and videos, and generally iCloud messages were not syncing properly, but 13.2.3 is said to cure it. Hopefully it will. Let me know if you've had any problems in the comments below. I've had quite a few. Next up, we're going to talk about the vaping apps and the wonder that is the App Store. If you've been following the news in the United States, and I believe in Europe as well, I don't spend much time there anymore, vaping has gone from being the best new thing to something rather terrible, apparently. I think I'd have to say allegedly. I'm not sure how libel and slander work, but allegedly vaping is terrible. With an increase in deaths and severe illnesses, the CDC here in America are warning people off vaping. And I think quite rightly, Apple have said, we don't want to be a platform that supports and promotes vaping, and thus we are going to force all of the apps off of the App Store. As a developer, I find it slightly challenging to think that someone can just close your business down just like that, while you have to rely on multiple revenue streams in almost everything that you do. But I do agree that the same way I wouldn't want them promoting smoking apps or hard drug apps or basically drinking and driving apps, anything that's truly dangerous to society, I wouldn't want to see that on the platform that I support. So I do support them in removing it, though perhaps there would be a way to really do it through the community rather than just pulling all the apps. Sometimes Apple are a little bit heavy-handed in the way they censor the App Store, because that's what it is. It is ultimately censorship, and people have strong views when you say the word censorship. Just look at what's going on in China at the moment. Last but not least, we're 1 week away from Thanksgiving, which means there are all kinds of savings and promotions and deals out there. I'm going to put a link in the description below to all the best deals that I find. I'll try and keep it updated as quickly and as promptly as I can. Leave your email address there if you'd like notifications as to what's going on and quite where the best deals seem to be. Hopefully covering everything from the best MacBook Pro and iPhone discounts to any fun and interesting accessories that you may be interested in or may make good stocking fillers in the run-up to Christmas. So if you've enjoyed this video, please consider a like and a comment below. Also subscribe if you're not yet. Stay up to date with everything that's going on in the Apple ecosystem. And I think we have a couple of honorable mentions coming up in the next few videos, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you again next time. Click here to subscribe, and this one here is a video that YouTube says is good for you. Bye-bye.